John 1:1.
Part 2. God or a God.
And the Word was God. John 1:1c. John 1:1 contains three phrases, John 1:1a, b, and c. Trinitarianism credits John 1:1c above, as rendered in the King James, etc., with directly identifying Jesus as God, it being widely held that the Word is a title for the pre-incarnate Christ. Non-Trinitarianism perceives such a reading to be a mistranslation, improbable on its face, which reverses the true meaning of John's words. It asserts that the correct translation is, the Word was a God, divine, or godlike, any of which may be understood to depict the Word as someone other than God. Later in this article, we shall present a list of dozens of recognized and respected English translations which render John 1:1 with just such words. The big lie. Trinitarianism's response is that such translations violate the rules of Greek grammar and are intentionally dishonest. Quote, no recognized translators in the history of Greek exegesis have ever sanctioned such a grammatical travesty, markedly inferior scholarship, no basis whatsoever in New Testament Greek grammar. The Word was God is the only possible rendering of the text. A God is both incorrect grammar and poor Greek. The Kingdom of the Cults, Walter Martin, Revised and Expanded Edition, 1985, pages 69 and 85. Quote, it is neither scholarly nor reasonable to translate John 1:1, the Word was a God. Shocking and grossly misleading. Dr. Julius Robert Mante, A.B., Ph.D., Ph.D., D.D., Professor of Greek and New Testament, Northern Baptist Theological Seminary, Chicago, Illinois. Quote, I can assure you that the rendering is not held by any reputable Greek scholar. Dr. Charles L. Feinberg, La Mirada, California. Quote, the Word was a God is a translation both grammatically impossible and intellectually dishonest. Dr. William Barclay. The big lie exposed. But, in fact, many recognized Greek exegetists and Greek scholars do sanction such a translation. Quote, you could translate it. So far as the Greek goes, the Word was a God. Dr. William Barclay, Trinitarian scholar, author, and Bible translator, ever yours, page 205, 1985. Interestingly, this quote from Dr. Barclay directly contradicts the widely popularized quote from him posted just above it. Quote, a formal equivalence translation of the controversial clause would read, and the Word was a God. The preponderance of evidence from Greek grammar, literary context, and cultural environment supports this translation. Truth in translation, accuracy, and bias in English translations of the New Testament. Professor Jason B. Dunn, page 132, 2003. Quote, the literal translation is, a God was the Word. Expository Dictionary of New Testament Words, W.E. Vine, page 490, 1983. Quote, a more literal translation is, and a God was the Word. Young's Concise Critical Bible Commentary, Dr. Robert Young, page 54. Quote, As far as grammar alone is concerned, such a sentence could be translated, "The Word is a God." The Elements of New Testament Greek, J.W. Wenham, 1984, page 35. Quote, as a word-for-word translation, a God cannot be faulted. Technical Papers for the Bible Translator, Volume 28, Number 1, January 1977. Professor C.H. Dodd, Director of the New English Bible Project. Quote, it has to be acknowledged that it could be translated, the word was a God. Introduction to New Testament Greek using John's Gospel, Stan Bruce, lecturer in New Testament Greek, All Nations Christian College, United Kingdom, 1999, Lesson 3, page 23. Dishonest? It is not the non-Trinitarian translation which is dishonest, but rather the claim that it is sanctioned by no recognized New Testament translators. The following are partial listings of translations which acknowledge the alternate reading, most of whose authors are Trinitarians. And the Word was a God. And the Word was a divine being, of a divine kind, of divine nature, godlike, etc. Clearly, the scathing denunciations of Martin and his ilk are lies, raising the question so often asked in the course of our investigations, why would it be necessary to resort to lies in order to defend the truth?